Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Can you please introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes, well, my name is Walid Khan, and I am an instructor at Gateway Study Links, Peshawar. Okay, and I have been teaching here for about half a year now.
All right. Walid, given that you are an experienced and seasoned instructor, can you provide us some general pointers regarding how a learner can secure 8 and above score in IELTS, irrespective of the modules development?
Well, yes, there are some things that differentiate students of 6 bands and students of 8 bands. And there are very minor things that usually students ignore in the test. And that includes reading the instructions. First of all, reading the instructions is extremely important. What students do is that they think that since they have already practiced the test before they have done mock tests, so they don't read the instruction, they think they know everything. But some questions require reading the instructions. They are extremely essential. For example, completion questions and listening and reading. The instructions are so specific there that if you don't read them, you will definitely make a mistake. So reading the instruction is the first and foremost thing. And then checking your answers on the answer sheet after you complete your test. What students do is that they don't check their test because they are in a hurry. They think that it's such a burden. They're very pressurized. They're very tired of, practicing again and again, and they just want to get done with it. So they don't check their answers. And what happens there is that they make spelling mistakes and capitalization mistakes, which will, of course, cost them score.
Yeah, that's a very good tip because it's a recurring issue that a lot of students have. Given that these are some of the general tips, let's talk about the module-specific mistakes and what are some of the pointers that would help learners secure 8+ bands in individual each module: reading, speaking, listening, and writing.
Well, that's a very important question, first of all. And I'll start with some things that are common between reading and listening, which students should focus on. Whatever kind of questions they do, they are useful in all kinds of question types, right? So these things are, first of all, comprehension. Okay, whether it's listening or whether it's reading, and comprehension comes with good practice. Okay, for listening you need to be aware of the different accents, for example, British, American, Canadian, Australian, right? And you need to be you need to be habitual with the pace of speaking. Okay.
Yes.
Because speakers, the recording will have, some speaker will be fast paced and some will be slow, so you need to be habitual with that. You need to do a lot of practice. And other than that, for every question type, keyword research is extremely important. Okay.
Yes.
When you read the questions, you should be able to identify the right keyword that will take you towards the answer when you read the passage in the reading or you listen to the recording in the listening one, right? And along with that, you should be able to identify paraphrasing. Okay, because the questions in the exercises will be just paraphrased versions of text from the reading or excerpts from the recording and listening. So these 2 or 3 skills are extremely important. For that, you need to have, of course, some grip on vocabulary, because paraphrasing, of course, involves synonyms and writing things in different words, right? So you need to have some grip on vocabulary. So that would be my first and foremost tips to all of the students for listening and reading.
Right. So the tips that you've given regarding listening and reading are, I guess, one of the few basic points that every learner should keep in mind. You can carry on with what you would say about speaking and writing.
Okay. Well, there is one more thing about reading that I should mention here. That is time management, which is of extreme importance, right? So what's written in the question is that you should give 20 minutes to each section. There are 3 sections, and 20 minutes for each means 1 hour. But that is not, the right division of time, because the difficulty of each section is different, right? So for example, the first section is comparatively easier than the other ones, so you should give it a bit less time than the other sections. And when you go down the test, then you could increase your time. For example, you could give 15 minutes to the first section, and then you could give 20 minutes to the second one, and 25 minutes to the third one, because it seems to be the most difficult section of all, right? So that is a very important, thing to remember.
Yes.
And while talking about writing and speaking, for writing, you need to have a good, practice in time management again, because
Right,
you're
yes.
supposed to write a limited number of words in a given amount of time, right?
Yeah.
So you need to have a good practice of your writing with the timer. When you practice at home, open a timer and then practice your writing with that. Other than that, organization.
Yes, of
Organizing
course.
your writing, because whatever task you do, you have to organize your paragraphs, right?
Right.
Your writing. So that is extremely important, because organization brings clarity to the writing, which
Right.
brings me to this very point. Write in a language that is very clear. Do not use words which you don't know the meaning of. Do not use synonyms which you don't know the meaning of. So that is extremely important, right? And for speaking, if you ask anybody, they would tell you that fluency is extremely important, which is, of course, but
Yes.
there are other things than, fluency, which are also important. For example, your knowledge of tenses, okay?
Right, yes, of
You
course.
should be aware of the application of tenses. When the examiner asks you, for example, a question in the present tense, you should be able to answer the question in the present tense, right? For example, he might ask you about your normal day,
right? Of course.
Then you should be able to answer it in the tense that is required, right?
Of course.
So that needs some sense of the application of tenses,
yes.
right? So, and of course, your facial expression, your gestures,
yes.
these are the minor things that differentiate speakers of 6 bands, right?
Yes.
And 8 bands,
Yes,
right?
of course. Yes.
When you think about it, when you add these minor details, it makes your speaking extremely, impressive for the
Yes,
writing.
of
Because, when you think about a native speaker, what's the difference between a native and a non-native speaker? A native speaker is, good with expressions.
Yes.
He knows how to express his emotions, for example. And also, along with that, he's also aware of idiomatic expressions, right?
Yes.
Collocations, pair of words, because these are the things that the native speakers have been using for quite some time.
Yes,
Right? And these are the things that the non-native speakers are not aware of. So they need to have some knowledge of collocations, idiomatic expression. And I think these are the things that will take you from 6 bands, for example, to 8 or 8+ bands.
Okay, thank you so much. It was very impressive and elaborate tips that our instructor here has provided you. So this is it for today's. Thank you
so much,
Allah.
and you're welcome.